Bat music. Bat is not a bat, he's a man who fights crime. And we're gonna watch him fight for a minute at a time. With John and Niall and a guest who doesn't rhyme. It's Bat Minute! Okay, sorry about that, everyone. Okay. Hello and welcome once again to Bat Minute
Just
Returns.
go with the first take, Niall.
I've already deleted it.
Oh, God damn.
No, you know what? I'll use the Zencaster recording of that, okay?
Okay.
So you introduced you and John admirably.
But anywho, today all this week we're joined by returning guests. In one corner, we have comedian, and as I recall, the first ever guest that Bat Minute had, Rikky Wiley.
Hello.
And on the other corner,
Hey.
we have a musician and karaoke DJ extraordinaire, Ash Lerczak.
Hi.
Yeah.
I was
yeah.
worried I didn't pronounce your last name correctly there. I was like, is that why he's not saying anything? Like, oh, shit.
No, I'm just getting into practice for not saying anything later.
That's how podcasts work anyway. You just kind of sit here and don't say anything. That's what I do most weeks.
But of course, today we're here to talk about minute 94 of Tim.
94.
I was waiting for that. Of Batman Returns. 94 begins with the
94.
The Penguin, with him, starting to explain his plan to people, and it ends a minute later with, well, I would tell you, but apparently Bruce Wayne, he's just not interested. So I guess we'll just have to leave out that detail. But,
Well, if the hero isn't even interested, then why should we be, eh?
just got 90. It's like most films are 90 minutes. Like at this point now, who cares anymore? Just like don't come bothering me. What happens in this damn minute?
Get on with it.
But yeah, we'll just toddle on in whenever you guys are ready.
I wondered if anyone commented so far, if anyone noticed, about how, like, Hammer Horror cheap polystyrene the set is for the sewer. I don't believe for a second that that's taking place below ground level for a single moment.
I don't think anyone specifically brought it up, but it's an excellent point.
Is that not the interior of the wildlife park thing, like the penguin enclosure or whatever?
Arctic World?
No,
Yeah.
is it? So he's not in the sewer there? I've thought that my whole life that's his sewer realm.
Well,
Yep, I was exactly the same till we started doing this.
I think he's in the the conduit between the sewer lines and the Arctic World, like screen. That's why he's got that big cage there and stuff. That whole area, it's like that's where they would have displayed the seals and the penguins. And
That's
stuff.
why it's full of penguins.
I just thought it was a quirky sewer.
Yes. I thought all my childhood that he
Yeah.
lived in the sewer. And he'd never been above ground. But doing this podcast, no. This man has been above ground all the damn time.
I feel almost willfully misled by this film then, because there's like there is a waterway running through that set that you couldn't help but associate with the sewer sets that are
Yes.
presumably adjacent. I suppose it does make more sense now why that room is like better lit than my house.
I never found it to be ambiguous at all. I'm pretty sure they show like an exterior shot and zoom in or something like that in the show that it's like that's where the penguin
do.
lives.
Yeah, I think
do.
that does happen. I think that does definitely happen. Yeah, I think you're
But
right.
there are shots that we've
You're all
seen
mad.
so far of like him going, multiple times he goes into the river and ends up here. It's like, well, how does a river
Yes.
lead into the Arctic world? You don't want the penguins getting out.
Yes, right. I'm going to stand up for myself now. You're right. Yes, John. That's right.
I guess the question is like, how is that even? Is it legal for them to have the penguin display area of a zoo directly connected to the open sewers?
Exactly.
That doesn't seem that great. I didn't think about it before, but yeah, that is weird. Like, why would you have that there? It should usually be a cut off area.
If you are concerned about the well-being of aquatic animals in enclosed spaces, there is an absolute bombshell documentary. I don't know if you guys have seen it. That absolutely blows the lid off the scandal of the way that a lot of animals are mistreated for display purposes. The documentary is called Star Trek: The Voyage Home. And the way those
Can I just say,
whales
the greatest Star Trek.
It really is the greatest Star Trek. I'm glad you agree with me. It's an ensemble piece.
And I'm not saying that as a gag. I'm 100% serious if people think I'm joking.
Yeah. I think Nimoy really, he knew the actors he was writing for, and he wrote and directed it with their strengths in mind. And sci-fi aside, that's always going to make the superior film. Whereas if you look at what's happened in this film, Tim Burton's Batman Returns, I think the best thing you could say about it is that they have conveyed the passage of space and different sets and different scenery quite well. So there is no doubt that we are in a penguin enclosure and not the zoo.
Yes, there's never been any conversation about that. It's obvious.
One other thing, though, I actually got confused by in this minute. Is that, like, the penguin's going around here and he's talking about, like, oh, we will snatch them, drag them into the sewer, and toss them into a deep, dark, watery grave. Like, really getting into his Machiavellian scheme. But then, of course, and he's called this in the IMDb, so we have to call him it Fat Clown. He starts questioning the plan as if this is, like, news to him. But the thing is, the whole movie, we've been seeing the penguin. He's been gathering these names, and it seems like this was forever in the back of his mind. It's like, oh, I'm going to kill all these kids eventually. Even before the whole mayor thing popped up, that was his original plan. It's like, I'm going to go up there, I'm going to kill all the firstborn sons and stuff. And the thing is, at one point, like, Catwoman comes across the stack of names, and he, like, quite violently is like, those aren't for prying eyes and stuff. The Fat Clown was in the room at the time. So is he completely unaware that this was always the Penguin's scheme? Like, did he not get the memo? Like, what? Are the rest of them aware that this was the plan the whole time? Or was he just like, I'm just making a bunch of names. Don't you bother, like, yourselves about why I'm doing it. I'll tell you when you need to know.
He's getting a new cat, and he's trying out new names for the cat. Don't ask too many questions about it.
Maybe, though, the gang, they've been hanging out with the regular folk of Gotham. Maybe now they've just grown accustomed to their faces. They don't want to get rid of these people now. They've turned a little bit. They're like, oh, they're not so bad. Do we really need to get revenge on everyone?
It could also be like they just let, they usually just let Oswald pucker himself out. So it's kind of like, he's got this whole thing about, like, he wants to kill the kids. And like, just let him pretend he's going to do that for a while. And now he's actually getting close. They're like, okay, someone needs to step up and go, like, look, maybe it's not the best idea. All right.
Yeah, I think that might very well be it. The plan itself and the baby basket thing, and I know it's been mentioned in the podcast before, that's very Old Testament, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then the Old Testament is obviously by and large, the Jewish Bible, the Torah. And has anyone mentioned yet that there's potentially negative connotations between the original designs of the penguin and Jewish stereotypes from around that era?
Oh my God, I'm really glad you brought it up. Weirdly, because I brought it up the first time I think we see the penguin in this movie. That I read an article suggesting that, and nobody else has agreed with it or brought it up even or mentioned it. You're the first person to go back to that.
I didn't know if you could really doubt it. The penguin in this film isn't the best example of it, if best is the correct term. But if you imagine the penguin from, like the animated series and a lot of the older comics, and he's he's always seen as a rich person, but a rich meddling person. So as well as the obvious pejorative visual features that he's got that are supposedly associated with Jewish people. There's also the kind of conspiracy theory aspect of it as well.
Yeah.
And it's, I almost feel like this film is aware of that and takes pains to move away from it. He's gone, the character design has gone into the realms of horror. And then the Penguin himself, instead of being some kind of scheming high society person, is as shown as coming from, he himself hasn't lived with privilege, has he? He's
No.
So that's the other supposed stereotype. Well, it is the stereotype associated with Jewish people. So I think they might have made an attempt to step away from it. And it's odd that DC would do that in the when would the Penguin have come about? When was the Penguin's first appearance? In the 1940s?
Yeah, we'd be like when I think Batman #1, because he was introduced in like Detective Comics, but I think the Penguin wasn't introduced until Batman had his own comic, and that was in 1940, so it would have been after that.
Right. Because by then they'd not long since, but they'd had Superman, who is the other end of the spectrum, isn't he? He was everything. He was everything that was great, supposedly, about being Jewish. That he kind of there was an aspect of him being an outsider, but he actually had a great deal of compassion and worked for the benefit of everybody. And there's that thing that Superman was a kind of a metaphor for a lot of the Jewish immigration into America from that era, and the name Jor-El and all that. The name Jor-El is almost like an Old Testament name, and Superman was almost directly, almost not even in a metaphorical sense, supposed to be like a Jewish character. So it's odd that the same publishing company would then flip it up and have such a wretched stereotype as the Penguin was in his first years.
Well, now you're making me really, really want to see the Penguin be Superman's arch nemesis.
Yes.
That seems logical from what you've just described. Like, surely they should be at odds.
Yeah. It might be a more interesting match. I should say I'm speaking from a position of ignorance here. Hopefully everyone will get on the Batminute listeners' cave, is it now? And with more of, and hopefully flesh out some of these, because I must confess to only the most scant knowledge of these subjects.
No, that was fantastic. I hadn't actually considered that about Superman, but it makes perfect sense as soon as you said it.
Yeah, there's more to it than that. I think the background of the original kids who came up with the original designs, there's a lot more information there for those who are able to seek it out. But
he's called Superman, which is got Nazi connotations, so it's a bit of an all-rounder.
Yeah, what was first? Because it's Ubermensch, is it? The Nazi, the Nazi term. So was that before or after or simultaneous with
I think
Superman?
I think Superman comes after.
Does he? Okay.
Yeah. Although I do know, like, the Ubermensch is a thing from, like, Nietzsche. Like, that's a concept that predates the Nazis and stuff, too. So it could be...
But they're very influenced by it, though.
Oh, no, I'm sure it's a whole Superman minute. They might come
also, I don't think
let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
Right. I was talking about this last week, but, right, he says here, tonight, while their parents party, they'll be dreaming away, safe in their cribs, or, something to that effect. But again, why does he assume that they are all babies? These people's children. He even mentions cribs here. It's only their firstborn sons he's going after.
Unless he means in the early 2000s sense of cribs. Like their fancy house. Yeah. That
would be even better if it's safe in their cribs. Hell yeah, MTV cribs.
That's how the Penguins got the Duckmobile. It used to just be like a go-kart, but then he got someone to like pimp his ride.
Oh,
and now he's
Pimp my duck.
We're gonna turn into a giant duck, man. It's like, oh my god, I love it.
Let's assume they are all babies. Who leaves a baby on their own in the house while they go out and party? Besides certain local people who we won't name.
Oh God, I don't know. We've already gone pretty bleak with this in the opening minutes. Let's not drag that particular issue into it. I can tell you now, as a father of 2 young children, quite often the only thing that stops me leaving the kids in the house on their own is social stigma and guilt. Because if I need some milk or something like that and the kids are asleep, I know for a fact that I could lock that door, nip out, get some milk, and get back home, and nothing would go wrong at all. But I'd never do it because of the judgment that I'd face. But deep in my heart, I know that it's sound.
The one time that you do, if you ever do it, there will be acrobats and clowns coming through the window.
Oh, no, through the chimney. Yeah, of course.
Is that a bonus?
Yeah, I wouldn't. It'd be exciting at least. There was actually an instance of I think she was Dutch, I want to say, and she was in New York, and she actually got the police called on her because her and her partner went into a restaurant and the baby was asleep. So they left the baby in the pram outside the restaurant and went in and got some food. And they got the police called on them, which is something that, that even neglectful parents leave the kids in the house on their own. Me, which I haven't done, would say you should ring the police in that situation. I'm tempted to. Ash only lives across the road from me, is all I'm saying. I could take the baby monitor and the image would transmit to Ash's house, but I still wouldn't do it because of the judgment. But they rang the police, and the argument that the woman had in court is it's just a cultural thing, and in certain countries it's just the norm to leave your babies out for penguins to get. I forget my point.
Yeah, but I'll defend what you were suggesting. Like, you're going to nip to the shops. That's okay. These people have gone out getting drunk and partying and dancing all night.
That's like the penguin. Is he purposefully, when he was looking at these birth certificates, did he go like, okay, only date them back like 3 years though? I don't want to, because then it could be like you see the Red Triangle gang going out with that weird train. And they're just rounding up like 45-year-old big fat guys with cigars going, like, what the hell are you doing? The guy, the firstborn son of some guy.
Hey, what the hell's this?
Is there not
that Cobblepot guy, I was going to vote for him.
Is there not a scene where there's an adult firstborn son, like, is he Shrek's kid or something like that? Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, he goes for Shrek's kid. But he seems to be like the one exception he's willing to make. Is like, I'll go for this adult. But the rest of them are like, no, I'm only going, unless if they're under 4, that's fine. But like anything older than that, because potentially they could be like taller than Danny DeVito at that point. So he's just like, oh shit,
that's true.
Not messing with that.
They've only got room in the cages for one adult. That's the problem. We can get one, so make it Shrek's kid. Otherwise, god damn it, it's going to be just full of. They'll get like 3 men, and that's it.
The penguins' suspenders have little penguins on them.
They are beautiful, aren't they? I want a replica of those.
I only just got onto that now because I've been looking at it on a small screen, and then I got up on the screen at Ash's, and little tiny penguin pattern.
Oh, I didn't notice that myself.
I think this is something that I thought I was watching the film as a whole. I think that the costume designers and the set designers must have just been having the time of their lives putting this together. It really feels like, and especially with a lot of the penguin costumes that you see in here, it was I don't feel like a lot of things were necessarily designed. I felt like someone had a lot of fun going around like charity shops and just going, yeah, that looks like it'd fit, that looks like it'd fit, and pulling together this really good mishmash of different styles. Someone had a lot of fun doing that job.
Which is, in the actual, within the action of the minute, though, of course, we mentioned that the fat clown has said like, oh, don't you, kill sleeping children. Don't you think that's a little? And as I was saying that the fat clown has been he's been featured throughout the movie, but we never said who plays him. So
of course,
we might as well do the old casting call here. This fella is Travis McKenna. And he's featured in quite a few things, actually. But the biggest thing he would have been in was Roadhouse. He was in that as Jack.
That's a prestigious role.
Yeah. He also featured in 9 episodes of Coach. Everyone remember Coach?
Coach.
I didn't
Yeah.
remember Coach until you just said Coach.
Yeah, Coach. He had a-
Then it all came flooding.
yes, yeah.
Like
Coach.
next week, Ash is launching his Coach retrospective podcast. Like, I don't remember how much I love that show.
I'd be on board.
Yeah. He's also in She Spies, which was a staple of Saturday afternoon Irish TV. But don't think many other people remember it.
No, that's the only place it played.
Potentially. But he's in also several movies which are, from their plot descriptions on IMDb, they seem to just be porn. Like, he was a porn actor. Literally the year before this, he was in something called Party Plane as a character called Humongous. And
Wait, like from Mad Max 2? Lord
Yeah,
Humongous. Okay.
maybe he's the same character. He's just like, oh, thank I got a plane out of that place. But he's the plot summary of that goes, Condor Skyways has found a way to give passengers a pleasant flight. Everybody is first class, and the attendants are all wearing the official uniform. A smile. Everyone has a view, but no one is fighting for a window seat. These are definitely the friendliest skies you'll ever fly. So, pretty sure what they're alluding to.
Yeah, it's not too subtle, that is in.
He's also in something called Party Favors, which is basically about a strip joint that gets shut down. So then the strippers decide to open up a pizza delivery service. And then as they're delivering the pizzas, like apparently at one point, like a button comes loose and a shirt falls open. And everyone loves that. So they become like a stripper pizza service.
So when they knock on the door, you come to get the pizza and they just like pop their top open.
Apparently, yeah.
Okay.
Oh my
okay.
god. I'm actually.
I mean, I'd
this
rather
seems
just
an
give me the
appropriate
pizza.
Yes, I'm for anyone who's interested in this is the right point, but I'm actually opening up my own stripper service / pest control business. So if anyone's interested, that's www.getyourratout.com. It's not going to make the cut.
Oh, now we
is
have to
it?
buy that domain.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, Ricky has to. It's his business.
Oh, I feel like we need in on this. We need to make money off this. Come on.
Yeah. He's also in one thing called Real Men, which apparently isn't a porno, but it's just
It sounds like it is.
But it's just because it has John Ritter and Jim Belushi in it. But it's just it's one of these plot lines. So just reading the summary, like it starts off dead boring, and then the last line just goes like, "What?" Whereas like it's a womanizing CIA agent and an insecure insurance agent are paired together. All right, that sounds pretty boring. To make sure a deal goes through. All right, with aliens for the future of mankind.
Yes.
It's just like, wait, whoa! I did not see that coming. But
That escalated.
Yes.
But the thing is here then, like this scene though, I never used to mind it until like looking at it now, like in grim detail, because it's kind of like, so he says this, and so it's implying like, oh, so he either didn't know the plan or is only now deciding to step up. So that's one questionable thing. It's like, well, I thought they were all aware of what the Penguin was up to already, but I can let that go. But then it seems like it's like, so the Penguin, obviously, he pulls out an umbrella, shoots this guy, and then he's like, no, it's a lot. To kind of like, it's trying to show that he's gone over the edge, potentially, that he's killing his own men. It's kind of a callback to, Bob Gunn.
Yeah.
At that point, the Joker, like when something upset him, he killed his main person and stuff.
Well, that's weird because I had a note that it reminded me of like a kind of messed up version of a scene you'd get in a gangster movie.
Yeah.
Like which basically the first one is a gangster movie in some ways.
Yeah.
Even to the way that the rest of the gang are kind of ignoring what just happened, possibly out of fear. I don't know.
Well,
like they're all just kind of going along with like, okay, yeah, you've shot my friend, but whatever.
Well, that brings me to my next point. Like, what's the purpose of the Penguin shooting him? It's just out of frustration, or is there at some level? Is it like he's trying to instill fear? I guess maybe, he is instilling fear.
He's just cutting off the dead weight,
because
isn't he? He obviously doesn't have the gumption to kidnap and kill children, so he's got no place for him in his gang. I think he's just being
because that's the plan going forward. So.
I also don't think that this version of the Penguin is a criminal mastermind, a big schemer. He's seen as someone who's very much like the victim of his own urges, and he's almost like animalistic. So it's not even necessarily like he would need a reason. He could just be overcome with rage in a moment and decide that he's going to shoot a chunky lad with an umbrella.
Yeah, definitely.
But I'm just wondering, because I'm assuming maybe it's also to imply, like, because not to get into spoilers for the rest of the movie, but, you know, later on, the rest of the Penguins gang, they all abandon him. Like, when his back's against the wall, they're like, oh, the hell with you. They get out of there. Is it because of this? They saw him, oh, he killed that guy.
Well, it certainly
this
wouldn't have
guy's
helped.
gone off his rocker and stuff.
No, it would not have helped. It's a combination of things, isn't it, really? Like, if he does that and then he does more stuff you're not happy with, you think, well, we're all going to be next, so screw you. Like, what are you going to do against all of us?
But I also feel like it could have been better because we were like, remember when we recorded the episode of Bob dying, we were devastated because we loved Bob. Oh. And even now, watching the movie after, it's just like, oh, Bob's dead. Oh, man, why? Like, I turned even more against the Joker in that moment. But this one, because you don't care about this guy. It's just like, so what?
No.
But say, for example, instead of it being Fat Clown, what if it was the Poodle Lady who said this? Because we've grown attached to the Poodle Lady.
We love her so much.
And she's been silent the entire movie. Wouldn't it not be more impactful that she was quiet the entire time? And the only time she speaks is to go, don't you think this is getting a little... And then he kills her. Because then everyone in the gang will be like, holy crap, he killed the Poodle Lady. The audience will be like, I thought she was like one of his right-hand people. So it would have been more impactful. And then when eventually they all abandon him, it would have pushed that idea that, like, yeah, they've had enough of this guy even further. Whereas this is kind of like, oh yeah, because the other reason it seems to be setting up that he shot this guy to put him in the water is so that there will be a gun in the water later on for Max Shrek when he's underneath.
Oh,
but the
God,
thing is, the Fat Clown doesn't have a gun on him.
I'm so much better at watching films than I am.
Only because we have to. But this is the thing, right? I had a question about why in the movie does he put him in the water? Because this can't be good for these birds. I mean, come on. It's not like they're pigs. They don't eat people.
To be fair, like the water's already toxic and stuff.
It's toxic, but it doesn't eat flesh and bone.
I guess he's just like, well, just get him out of the road because I don't want this festering corpse lying there, like taking up my space.
He's gonna make his birds sick.
It's all about
look after your birds.
In the not saying like penguin the animals culture, but in the penguins culture, that's what that's what you do when you're dead because his pallbearer giant penguins take him into the water at the end. Spoiler.
My favourite part of the movie.
Yes, yeah.
I don't like it. I don't get how they're moving him.
It's not about that by that point in the film.
Next to him and he kind of slides. It's weird.
The
yeah, it doesn't make much sense.
The fantasy. The ship has already sailed by that point in the film. You can't be pulling them up into that type of thing.
I do wonder if that again was supposed to be. Oh, this is a foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Like maybe this is where the penguins get that idea. Like, all right, so he's dead. So, but instead of them like emotionally moving him slowly in the water, they came over and just kicked his corpse until it rolled in.
Yeah.
And it was just like really grim scene. Like, it could have been sad, I guess, but it looks pretty funny with this penguins just kicking him in the head until he goes in the water.
Maybe that's what penguins actually do. I hadn't thought of it until this second, so I haven't looked it up. Do they push their dead into the water?
Well, we will be covering it, and we'll have like a full week of pretty much that scene. So
yeah, but it ties into this because the penguin, he is now, especially he's less human than even he started out. He's abandoned all humanity now. He's lost it. So maybe that's an extra penguin thing to do. Like, well, this is what penguins.
That's what happens in Happy Feet. I don't know if you've seen that. They all die.
Yes, everyone dies.
Roll down a ramp into some water that's illuminated green.
Mad Max tie-in there.
What's the Mad Max tie-in?
It was great though, because it's directed by George Miller. Happy Feet,
okay.
The guy who directed all the Mad Max movies.
Okay.
Yeah, the creator and director of Mad Max.
Sound all right. The world just got a little bit harder to keep track of.
It's the weirdest thing I found out since I just discovered Spy Kids by Robert Rodriguez.
Was that, and he did Babe 2, Pig in the City. Like,
yes.
George Miller kind of went off on a little tangent for a while.
Oh, God.
Eventually found his way back to the Fury Road.
Yes.
Good film.
But it would be, though, great if this scene actually slowed way down then, because this was like, oh, so the penguins always move their dead into the water. And then it just came on that sad funeral music from the end. And then the penguin went over and he stood beside the guy. And then the other penguin stood around him. And then they had a big 5-minute sequence of slowly dragging this dead clown into the water. We could hop on over to, meanwhile, at Stately Wayne Manor, or underneath it.
It's interesting of you to say hop on over as well, because the establishing shot of the Batcave is that those two kind of precipices, kind of cliff promontories. What are they? Two bits of rock in the Batcave reaching out and nearly touching each other, with Batman on one side and Alfred on the other side.
But this is my problem with the scene. I love the scene in general, but why are they separated like that?
Well, it's because of the gulf between the two of them.
That's what I'm thinking. It must be something like that, because practically, like, well, why is this gap there? How did Batman get over there? And, Alfred come from this angle. So it must be a symbol of something like that, like a divide is growing between them. He's being led astray by.
I think that's true. I think that's true of a different and better written version of this film. But unfortunately, it doesn't have that degree of subtext to it.
I mean, there is it could be some degree of truth, right enough, because I think the last time we saw these two things was the establishment shot, and it was when Bruce was on his microfiche machine, and Alfred was coming down the stairs behind him. You could say because he had his back, so he's right behind him. And now there is, but the thing is, there's not much attention paid to the relationship between Bruce and Alfred in this movie. And we'll get into it next minute more, because Alfred has a reaction to what is said that is just like, well, he seems very, very angry about this for some reason. But it's like because there was much more of a clear through line with Alfred in the previous movie, whereas like he was just trying to get Bruce and Vicky together, and then when it wasn't working, he was getting very, very frustrated, and then he forced the hand by letting Vicky into the Batcave. And in this one, it's like at the beginning, he was all like, oh, why are you bothering this poor penguin guy? Like, leave him alone. And then all of a sudden he's like, oh, we gotta go get the penguins, sir, and all this business. And then he's kind of like, it seems as if he was, like, I think we said, like, he's kind of cock-blocking Bruce, because, like, when he's talking to Selina, Alfred's in the corner beeping the horn and stuff. And then, like, then he's at the date. He seems to be okay with that. But then, when Bruce is, like, again, we're creeping into next minute now, but when he's like, oh, Selina Kyle might be there, Alfred, instead of the guy who wanted to get Bruce Wayne hooked up with someone, you'd think he'd be happy at that. Like, oh, he wants to go now because maybe really he'll get together with someone.
He liked Vicky to the point that he feels betrayed.
He put all that time into setting him up.
All those eggs in the Vicky basket, and he doesn't think that.
Yeah,
Selina's much
and he
got.
Clearly doesn't approve of Selina so far. He thinks she's a harlot, a temptress.
She came out, she was talking about writing dirty limericks to him at one point. He's like, I can't abide that kind of thing, Master Wayne.
He is not approving of this relationship at all. No. He needs to find a nice lady and settle down.
No.
The best Alfred Bruce Wayne tension, I think, is in Arkham Origins. You played that one?
Ooh.
You must have played that game, where they're basically like shouting at each other throughout the whole thing, and there's actually kind of like character development takes place, because then Bane gets in the Batcave and has them off. There's a whole it's good. It would have suited a bit in it where they were on two kind of like Wile E. Coyote cliff things that were nearly touching. But no,
that should be a staple of every Batman.
It's a lovely bit of matte painting though.
No, it looks great. That looks fantastic.
There's even a little shimmer of bats over the painting. I don't know how they did that.
That's their CGI, the bats, I believe.
No.
It is very, very early CG. They use it for some penguins, some bats, and Catwoman's head at the end. It's one of the first films that really integrated.
A couple of bits of it. It blends in seamlessly, though. Like, it all looks perfect together.
It looks great. I think because they've put it back on to analog film after having done the digital effects, it gives it a nice saturation. Fits in. It's like Jurassic Park, kind of, as you don't really spot the CG as much.
Yeah, it's funny that the first Jurassic Park still looks better than like the third Jurassic Park.
It's the same dude, isn't it, doing the animatronics and stuff?
Yeah, but
it's composing the shot, isn't it? And you also see the Batmobile with its front off, and you see, is that an actual jet that you see inside there, like a jet engine that he's got with the Batmobile's nose off?
So, yes.
That would seem to be, it's that would explain. There's your explanation of why it's so goddamn fast. It's got a friggin' jet engine shoved in the center of it.
Well, it is basically a plane on wheels. it's a rocket car.
This is one of those things, though. It's like, because some people will say there's continuity between now and forever. Because in that one, he's got a brand new Batmobile. But in this, it looks like he's just trying to fix his old one. So...
Yeah, he's not changing it here and now. He's just fixing it because they've screwed with it and broken half the damn thing.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the new sides on it because obviously left when it turned into the Bat Cucumber, all the stuff fell away. So he's obviously got like backup. Oh yeah, got backup sides to the car, I guess, or whatever. But I do like as well though. If you notice in the. As Alfred's holding out the RSVP to that loathsome party by the odious Mr. Shrek.
Oh yeah, let me just say, hang on. He's supposed to have composure in his job. He's a butler. He shouldn't be throwing around his personal opinions about people. Chill.
Well, remember, this is Alfred who's just pointing at the TV, going like, "Our first priority is this ghastly grotesque," and all this. This is Alfred full sass. But I think he's maybe leaning his. He's trying to manipulate Bruce even there, like remember that terrible party with that complete asshole that you don't like? So you're not going to that, are you?
But what is it you like here, then? Is it something on the invite? Because it might be something I like.
I think I just like that Max has still put the little cat head.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, what does that say to you? Because to me, I thought... My first impression was that this is stating it's not a party for friends. This guy is like all business all the time. To the point where he's putting his company logo on the damn invite for no reason whatsoever. This is like a business meeting almost. Just with drinks.
I mean, why would... we'll get into it when we get to the party scene. But yeah, he's inviting everybody. People that we know Max Shrek hates are invited to this party, including Bruce Wayne.
Yeah. Well, I think...
It's a networking event.
Yeah. Networking. That's the nice way of putting it.
Yeah. I think a work party is the only... party where you can reasonably expect there to be free booze there. So I think that's why he's put it on there. It's a good way of getting extra people in because it's free booze. I always hate it I don't hate it, but I do hate it on Facebook house party invites. When people send you Facebook invites to their house party, and it always says, bring your own bottle. Like I'm going to turn up to somebody else's house and just be like, I'm getting pissed for free tonight off your ale. No one's ever. I mean, admittedly, I'm in Ash's house now drinking his rum, but that aside,
no I agree. I completely agree. I think it's an age thing because, basically, Lol, my partner, former guest of the show, her parents found it really weird. Like every time we've mentioned we're going to someone's party, we're taking our own drinks and stuff. Not only do they find it weird that we wouldn't be given drinks, but they find it weird that we wouldn't take a bottle to give to the person who's throwing the party.
That's insane.
That's just weird to people like us.
That must be some kind of generational thing.
Yeah.
So in their day, they used to swap drinks.
You swap drinks. You had a big bowl. You all put your car keys in.
Ah.
Sorry, that's not Lol's parents. Sorry, Lol. I didn't mean you. I was just a throwaway joke. Although if they want to do that, that's fine as well. But it's just not my business, so I'm staying out of it.
If that's what you're into, you do you.
I would love though if like in the establishing shot of the party, Bruce Wayne arrives in with like a plastic bag full of like random cans,
like, booze,
a bottle of cider and stuff.
He's got some Stella.
Yeah, a bit of white lightning.
But
if you mix that with blackberry juice, actually quite nice from time to time. So every so often, don't have it all the time.
Is that the only way to make white lightning drinkable?
Palatable, yeah, and then drink it after you're already drunk. That's the way to do it.
No, I reckon he's got some Buckfast and Baby Sham in that bag.
I know there's a friend of mine used to, even when he had money, used to stick with like, he always drank like White Lightning. But he would mix it with blackberry juice. No. But the thing is that he would do it like, you'd go to his house to like, to get ready to go out. And everyone else would be sitting drinking beer and stuff. And he'd just pour this huge tumbler of cider and blackcurrant. And he'd just sit looking at it. Because he knew it was disgusting, but he knew it would get him very, very drunk very, very quickly. And then at one point, at about like 10:30, he'd go, Okay, and he just grab it and just completely neck it in one go.
Oh.
And that would be him, the beginning of him drinking for the night. But like he had to really build up to it and stuff.
Oh, God.
That's a worrying sign. If you've got to build up to it, maybe don't drink it.
I think to be fair though, it is is a fully functioning
Alcoholic?
happy adult now who does not have an alcohol problem or anything. But
That was exactly what Richard and I used to drink in the year 2001.
That's true. We used to, but I think that's what it's. I think that's what it's aimed at. I think there's a 45-year gap in the age, in the key demographics of White Lightning. You've got Richard and Ash in
Yes.
2001, like 16, 17, 18 years old, and then you've got another 45 years, and then you've got your 60-odd-year-olds drinkers who are just like, I'm not even going to pretend that there's a social or taste element to this anymore.
But anyway, speaking of Batman Returns, we're pretty much at the end of the minute here.
Yeah.
As Bruce says, like, in response to Alfred's, do you want to go to this party? Declares he's not interested. Abruptly cuts. So
Cuts to credits. End
we
of the
could
film.
abruptly cut and just stop the episode right now.
No.
No.
We will depart into the dark, dark night. Would our wonderful, lovely, fantastic guests like to tell our listeners where they can find, them online or anything they're up to, or you can plug anything you like, whatever.
I'm a middle manager with 2 kids. I don't really do much. I don't get it. It's nice to get out of the house, to come over the road to Ashes, to talk to you lads, but I'm not. I had a vasectomy recently, so I think if I wanted to plug anything,
You can plug that, yeah.
I think get a vasectomy, lads.
You plugged something when
Yeah, plug the tubes, tied the tubes. I
That's
don't know
not
the hell
what they do.
I have no idea.
But yeah, get a vasectomy. Ash, what are you up to these days?
I'm hosting the karaoke every Saturday night.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That is a legitimate plug.
It really
because
is.
Yeah.
My
if people are in the Liverpool area.
My favorite thing about Ash's
You know?
karaoke is he does these karaoke nights, but it's called unpopular choice karaoke,
Yeah.
and it's deliberately the least like enjoyable karaoke they would choose. My favorite story about it is wasn't the first song that somebody got up to sing at your karaoke night one night the theme tune to The World at War?
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
I wish I could take more credit for it, but he just had this plan. He was basically said, stream it off YouTube and I'll sing my lyrics over it. And he just went
His
like,
own word.
yeah, it was just like, this is a world at war. And it was like a proper 5-minute version of the song as well. It wasn't the edit used in the show. It went on forever. It was brilliant.
Oh, so get down
Oh,
there.
that's priceless.
So if you want to hear people
We
singing
need to recreate this. Get him back.
that, come on down to the burrito shop on Smithdown Road on a Saturday night and sing a song.
Yes, I'm sure people will, considering most of our listeners live in California.
Yeah.
I'm sure
It's
they'll
worth,
make
it's worth
the
the
trip over.
flight.
When you're on your holes.
It is. You can stay in my spare room, people, if you want to come over. Just give me like a week's notice.
You're going to regret these promises, John.
If you're at a loose end
Just,
after the
I've
Beatles
gotta
tour.
get things- Yes, you have to go on the Beatles tour. I never have and never will, but you can do it on my behalf. And something else you can do for me is join us again on Wednesday, because we will have more Bat Minute returns. We will have Minute 95. If you want to talk to us in the meantime, we are on Facebook at the Bat Minute Listeners Cave, or you can send us a tweet at Bat Minute. And give us a review on iTunes, you lovely, lovely people. If you do that, I will let you stay one extra day in my spare room, and I might even give you a Pop-Tart. So there you go. Enjoy, and see you on Wednesday.
Next time, a Karnak attack. A bourgeois box social has begun without a hitch and bops along to the elegant beat of Rick James, bitch. But while he maneuvers through menorahs and international monuments, to whom will Bruce run afoul for negating a costume cowl in favor of his own fleshy scowl? Find out Wednesday. Same Bat Pod, different Bat Minute.